Poppy Champlin, and this is my co-host.
I'm Ron Paolino. Welcome. Nice to have you.
How are you doing today, Ron?
I'm doing pretty good, Poppy. How about you?
I'm doing great. I feel good. The show went well a couple weeks ago over at Simon's down at Charlie O's.
Oh, yeah. That was great, huh?
Yeah, it was a good show. A lot of people showed up, and very, very happy to be having a Rhode Island show down in the South County area, because you know those South County swampers, they don't like to go past the tower.
I gotta say it. I always do, but I gotta say it because it's the truth. If you haven't seen Poppy Champlin live, you see her on the show and she's funny. You got to see my co-host do her real thing when she's out there, because this is a real pro comic. This girl will make you laugh. I promise you.
Thank you.
When you see Poppy somewhere, in fact, you get a chance to go down to Charlie O's or one of the other local venues. Comedy Connection. I've seen you, Charlie O's. It's great, and make it a point to get down there. This girl does some impersonations, I'll tell you.
Because that's how I originally started, was you know, here in Rhode Island, but the way I really started getting paid was I did these impressions. And like I do a Lucy. Can you do Ricky Ricardo by
Lucy, come on. Are you here?
That's good. Well, Ricky, you know how Lucy's like that crazy, right? But
you know, we got quite a show today.
I know we do. We have a great show. We have these guys on from the what is it?
SPCA, the Rhode Island Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Which is good, because, you know, I feel like I've been a little cruel to animals lately, but I can't help myself, because that really sounds terrible. But the thing is, I've just moved home from Los Angeles back to Rhode Island.
Right.
And there's a lot of bugs in the woods. And, you know, when I was started from LA, when I came back, I'm like, everything must live, and I would put them outside. But now it's a month or 2 months into it.
You invite them in.
I don't invite them in. I kill them. I kill them all, Ron. I'm killing. And it's just, it's really horrible, because, you know, there's so many bugs. And so then I decided I was going to go to the salon and get my hair done after like 3 months of this bugginess. So I go to get my hair done. You know what she finds? A tick in my hair. Yes, she found a tick, and I felt so dirty. And so I was thinking, you know what? LA is a beautiful, you know, it's glamorous. I go out, I put on my angel perfume. Now I'm back in Rhode Island. When I go out, I have to put on Frontline. That's what I put.
And a collar. And one of those collars.
I have 2 Hearts collars on my ankles at all times, cutters everywhere. I mean, you know, so I feel like I'm being cruel to bugs, but I can't help it. And they know it. Wait. They know that I am the Grim Reaper. And so, because you know, I had a dog. And so I said, anything with more than 4 legs is going down. It's going down. And so now they know it. So the spiders are going by me up on 2. Just the 2, Poppy. Just the 2 going by. I'm like, I see those other 6 behind your back.
They're amputating their legs just not to be euthanized. Talking about euthanized, we have a couple of great guests from Rhode Island SPCA coming on.
I know.
Joe Warzika, he's an animal cruelty investigator, which is a very important position. He's very interesting. I'm sure you're going to find him interesting.
Yeah.
And Dr. E.J. Finocchio, who's here, who's the executive director of the Rhode Island SPCA.
It's definitely a serious problem.
You talk about informative people. You need to watch the show, because what you're about to see going on in the next segment and what you're about to hear about, I think, is going to be extremely informative. Most of us have pets. Most of us love our animals.
I love them.
And it isn't that necessarily we just don't love them or we don't care about them. It's we don't know how sometimes to do the right thing. I know I was surprised by, when I was talking to these gentlemen before coming on, just some of the things that I found out that they informed. My father was involved with animals for years, over 45 years, over cumulatively, with the Providence Animal Rescue League and Rhode Island, Roger Williams Park here in Rhode Island. And yet, all this background and all this time expended around animals because of my dad, who's a true animal lover, still, some of the information you're about to get on this show is really great.
How about that story that were all those animals in Ohio?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they had the exotic pets, and then they had to put them down. One of them, the panthers or tigers, the Belgian tiger, Bengal tigers.
18 tigers.
Yeah, and they're on the endangered list.
Yes.
And yet they had to be euthanized.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that somebody didn't step in and like take them. But
well, Jack Hanna was on that newscast, who's a big animal advocate, and had to come out and say they did the right thing. They didn't have any choice.
Really?
So anyway, stay tuned for the next segment, because I think you're going to find these gentlemen are very informative.
Yeah.
They do wonderful things at the Rhode Island SPCA. And, well, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see you then. Hi, and welcome back. We're here With Reach Out, I'm Ron Paolino.
And I'm Poppy Champlin, and we have the Rhode Island SPCA people with us today.
We sure do, we sure do. Dr. Ernest J. Finocchio is here with us, and Joe Wazica is here with us. Joe is an animal cruelty specialist at the Rhode Island SPCA, and Dr. Finocchio is a veterinarian. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to have you here. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you for having us.
Joe. Nice
Thanks
to be
for coming.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. We have a lot of things to talk to you about. I'll tell you, our viewers, I'm sure, have interest. We have a lot of animal lovers that watch the show, I'm willing to bet. And I think they need to know about your organization, what you guys do. A lot of us here, that the Rhode Island, when you put that RI in front of something, we think it's state-run and operated or state-funded. That's not the case at all, is it, Dr. Finocchio?
Not at all. We are not a state agency, a city agency in any way, shape, or form. We're a private, nonprofit, 501c3 organization established in 1870.
Wow.
This month, we are 140 years of age.
Amazing.
You look good.
Years old. Yeah, and Joe, look at Joe.
They look good for being 140 years old.
Yeah, that's
There's
amazing.
not many of those
But
institutions
that's in
around.
dog years, probably.
But the SPCA does so many things to help with the animals and so on, as a shelter, but as a training facility, helping people understand about animal husbandry, how to help their animals, how to treat them. Doctor, maybe you can tell us, well, first of all, you're a veterinarian. How did you get involved? How long have you been with the SPCA, and how did you get involved with them, sir?
Originally, I'm a horse veterinarian for 37 years, and I sold my practice in 2002. 2001, I can't remember, and I was on the board of directors for the Rhode Island SPCA since 1973, and when the person who I replaced retired, they asked me if I would become the director. I had sold my practice, so it was a beautiful mix, and July 1st, 2002, I became the director, and I'm still there.
Great, it became an easy transition for you.
Yes.
Now, and Joe, you're an animal cruelty investigator, I understand.
Correct.
How did you get to the SPCA, and what specifically does your position do, sir?
Well, my background is in law enforcement. I have a degree in criminal justice, was a former police officer, and I actually started out volunteering at the Rhode Island SPCA, walking dogs. And the investigator's position became available, and I've always been very passionate about animals, so with that passion and with my background, it seemed like a perfect fit.
Wow, you went from being a police officer to walking dogs voluntarily?
It goes to show you what I must love it to do.
Yeah,
well, exactly. I was saying, that's a passion.
Yeah.
Now, so that our viewers know, I'm sure you fellas know, and we kind of have an idea from speaking to you earlier, but let our viewers know exactly what is an animal cruelty person in charge of animal cruelty at the SPCA. What are your duties and responsibilities, sir?
Well, basically, I'm empowered throughout the state of Rhode Island to investigate and prosecute any cases of animal cruelty. There's a whole Title IV under Rhode Island General Law, deals with animals, animal husbandry, animal cruelty. So on a daily basis, the complaints come in through phone calls and through emails. I'm not out on the street patrolling. It's basically reports from people, from veterinarians, in animal cruelty. A lot of it happens behind closed doors, so it's not really out there for you to see.
Now, as the name would imply, animal cruelty, if I were hypothetically, and I'm not, were cruel to an animal, I certainly wouldn't be calling on myself. So somebody else must be reporting what they see going on out of concern and care for the animal. And it can't be taken too well when you get to someone's door saying you're not treating your dog, cat, or bird or your exotic pet very well. What's that like, Joe?
Well, you touched on something, no, people don't call on themselves, but I would say a large percentage of the phone calls I get are from family members, from friends.
Yeah.
And that becomes very touchy as well. A lot of people like to remain anonymous, and we do our best to try to maintain the confidentiality because it can pose a problem with families, with neighbors. But generally, that's how it is. It's someone who's there, who can see what's going on, that will call and report it. And I think you'd be surprised how cooperative people are when I actually show up.
That is kind of surprising, because somebody's saying they're not doing the right thing, and so you're coming there saying, look, you're not doing the right thing with your dog or cat or whatever. And I would be surprised that most people, it would be I would assume, and it isn't good to assume, but I would assume that people would have a bad attitude about that.
People can become again, that's not always the case.
That's good.
People can become very defensive that someone's accusing them of mistreating their animals.
Yeah.
Not everyone is cooperative, but when it's brought to their attention and you explain to them the repercussions that are involved. I don't think people are necessarily aware that, you know, misdemeanor, felony, you can go to jail for animal cruelty.
Really?
So that's, I think, when they become more cooperative and want to do whatever they can to facilitate the process.
Do you find that sometimes, Joe, that people don't really intend to be cruel to the animal? It's just a lack of ability. Maybe in this economic time, it's an inability
that's what I was
to take care of
say.
things. You know,
with the money, people don't
people find
feed their
themselves
animals
with
as
an
much.
animal that they can't care for as much as they may like to. If it's a choice between they eat first, pay their rent, take care of their children in some way, shape, or form, maybe that's the case. Do you find that to be an issue at times?
Yes, very, very much so, and probably more so than the malicious, intentional, you know, injury or killing of an animal. I mean, that does exist, but a lot of what you get are the people who maybe are ignorant to the law a little bit, or just don't have the means to properly care for an animal. And again, you touched on the economic times, and if it comes to paying the heating bill or putting food on the table, but
difficult decision.
Sure, but they also need to understand that that does not alleviate them from properly taking care of their animal.
We assume a responsibility, folks. I think we all should know that. If we don't already know it, let me bring it to your attention. When you take an animal, you adopt that animal. That animal should become my animal's a part of my family. They're the ones that don't speak to me or whatever, but they're also very reliant on me for their well-being. Just like an infant is reliant upon us when they're born.
They are expensive. I mean, like I was telling, I just lost. I had to put my pet down, and he was pretty expensive. You know, I mean, the front line. Why is there a generic front line or a generic flea thing for these animals? I mean, it was like, no, really, it's like $60 or $70 for 2 tubes of it or something. Really, so is that animal cruelty? If you let your pet just be infested with fleas, that's probably animal cruelty.
When I had fleas, I just shaved my back.
That's good.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's funny you say that. I actually just took a dog, a cat, and 2 kittens out of a house a couple days ago, and there were some other circumstances surrounding that. I was covered with fleas when I left the house because the animals were that severely infested. Legally, what it comes down to is the animal suffering. And because of a condition, you know, maybe the flea condition has gotten to the point where it's so severe where it's causing the animal discomfort, pain, suffering, and that's
then you take
a crime.
them out.
Correct.
You can take them out.
And
then the people are probably happy that you did take their animal because they can't take care of it.
Well, sometimes you can get people to surrender, voluntarily surrender their animals. You know,
and there is help out there for these people who find themselves in tough economic times. There are, rather than let this go on and on to get to the point where it does become an animal cruelty issue, there are sources out there to help these people before it gets to that stage.
And they can find those at on your website?
And they can contact us. We can help them out. We can guide them as to where to go to get help.
It's funny because certain drugs don't work as well as the other drug. There's Frontline, there's Advantix, there's Advantage, and then I just found out this one right before I had to put him down. That's a pill that is from Pet Meds that you can get from Pet Meds, and he takes the pill, and then the fleas die immediately within hours.
Yeah, in regard to the care of an animal, you want to be careful with your over-the-counter medications, and the best thing to do is to have a conversation with the dog's primary care veterinarian, and they will guide you as to what products are best and most efficacious for the problem that you're dealing with.
You don't know until you try them.
Right, but a veterinarian will guide you and tell you what is best.
You know, Poppy, what I wanted to talk to Dr. Finocchio about, and I know you earlier with our early conversation, you wanted to bring out about ownership of cats and exotic